Welcome to the Explainer. So here's a massive challenge we're facing. By the year 2050, we have to figure out how to feed nearly 10 billion people on this planet, all without completely depleting our oceans. The answer to this pressing global challenge actually lies in a really fascinating intersection of science and nature. We're calling it a true blue revolution. Let's dive right into this.
This is the critical question staring us down right now. How do we feed billions without emptying the oceans? With the global demand for aquatic food resources skyrocketing, we can't just rely on traditional fishing anymore. It's just not enough. We need a sustainable, highly efficient multi-tool, and that is where our hero enters the picture: aquaculture biotechnology. It's essentially the ultimate bridge between maximizing our food production and conserving our delicate wild aquatic biodiversity.
Now, you might be wondering, what exactly does that mean? Well, basically, aquaculture biotechnology is the use of biological and molecular technologies to enhance the breeding, growth, disease resistance, nutrition, and environmental management of cultured aquatic organisms. But honestly, this isn't just about building a better fish tank. We're talking about merging molecular biology, genetics, and microbiology to completely revolutionize modern aquaculture. From the very DNA of the organisms to the water they swim in, this technology optimizes every single variable for healthier, more robust aquatic life.
All right, here's a quick roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the future of seafood. Number 2, genetics and selective breeding. Third, we'll cover aquatic health and nutrition. Fourth, environmental and ecosystem management. And finally, number 5, we'll wrap up by looking at the challenges and future prospects.
Let's kick things off with sections 1 and 2, the future of seafood and genetics and selective breeding. Think of this whole process as the genetic farming of the sea. Now, traditional selective breeding relies on natural genetic variation over many generations. Picking the best of the bunch to get faster-growing salmon or better tilapia. But modern tools like CRISPR-Cas9, they act like a highly calibrated genetic GPS. Instead of waiting decades for nature to take its course, CRISPR allows for incredibly precise gene editing. We can directly target disease resistance, significantly boost growth, and even control sterility.
Of course, to do that kind of precise editing, you need some pretty heavy science. By studying the complete genetic makeup of an organism, scientists can use DNA markers like SNPs and SSRs. Think of these as unique genetic fingerprints. They help map out the very best growth genes. With this tech, farmers can perform parentage testing, analyze genetic diversity, and utilize marker-assisted selection to guarantee that their breeding stock is absolutely the best of the best.
So, how does this translate into practical reproductive biotechnology? Well, we have a really fascinating 4-step process here. Step 1 starts with artificial breeding through controlled fertilization. Then Step 2 moves into hormonal induction to naturally stimulate spawning. Step 3 is cryopreservation, basically the long-term freezing storage of sperm, eggs, and embryos. But Step 4 is where it gets incredibly clever for farmers: sex control technology. By actually manipulating sex ratios, facilities can produce things like all-female fish populations. And it turns out, all-female populations yield significantly better growth performance.
And this brings us to transgenic aquaculture. This is where entirely new genes are introduced into aquatic organisms. A perfect, real-world example of this in action is the growth hormone gene-enhanced salmon. By integrating just this one specific gene, these salmon reach market size in roughly half the normal time. Half! That drastically increases production efficiency, all while maintaining improved nutritional value and strong disease resistance.
Moving right along to Section 3, aquatic health and nutrition.
Okay, so once you've genetically optimized these species, you've got to protect them, right? Viral and bacterial infections can absolutely devastate a farm in no time. But advanced diagnostic tools like PCR and ELISA act as rapid pathogen hunters, spotting trouble instantly. When you combine those early warnings with modern vaccines, like recombinant and DNA vaccines, the result is huge. We're talking a massive reduction in the need for traditional antibiotics, alongside vastly improved survival rates for the animals.
But health isn't just about preventing disease. It's about true optimization through nutrition. Nutritional biotechnology uses things like probiotics, enzyme supplements, and alternative protein sources. By improving how aquatic animals digest their food, we see much faster growth and significantly lower feed costs for the farmers. Plus, and this is a big one, when the organisms digest their food better, there's less waste produced. That directly ensures much better water quality in the farming environments, ultimately leading to cheaper, cleaner seafood on our plates.
All right, Section 4, Environmental and Ecosystem Management. Now we're shifting our focus from the animals themselves to the habitats they actually live in. Environmental biotechnology brings us constant water quality monitoring and highly advanced waste treatment. Take biofloc technology, for instance. It's brilliant. It uses beneficial microbes acting as this microscopic cleaning crew to manage waste right in the water column itself. This creates a sustainable, closed-loop system that keeps the environment pristine for the farm species. And hey, this tech goes way, way beyond just fish. For shrimp, it means intense pathogen control and genetic improvement. For shellfish, it's all about genetic conservation and disease monitoring. We're even cultivating algae for things like biofuel production and pharmaceutical compounds. And on a broader scale, we're using this to monitor the genetics of endangered wild populations to run vital conservation breeding programs. It really covers the whole shebang.
Finally, that brings us to Section 5, Challenges and Future Prospects.
Now, looking at our sources objectively, we have to acknowledge that the limitations here are very real. The high implementation costs and the strict requirement for advanced technical expertise can be massive barriers to entry for smaller farmers. Additionally, there are ongoing ethical debates regarding genetically modified organisms, risks of potential ecosystem impacts if farmed species ever mix with wild populations, and, of course, some really complex regulatory challenges that vary wildly from region to region. It's definitely a delicate balancing act.
But when you pull all these interconnected disciplines together into one big picture, you really start to see the robust foundation of aquaculture biotechnology. Everything from genomics and CRISPR editing, all the way down to vaccines and environmental monitoring, it all works in tandem to achieve one unified goal: highly efficient, sustainable farming. And looking to the horizon, some of these recent advances are literally mind-blowing. We are moving toward utilizing environmental DNA, or eDNA, where scientists can monitor entire species just from testing a single drop of water. We are seeing the rise of completely AI-controlled farms, and most crucially, the development of climate-resilient aquatic species using integrated multi-omics approaches to prepare for a changing planet. So this leaves us with one really vital question to think about. As biotechnology completely transforms the sea, giving us the unprecedented power to feed billions, will we use this technology merely to extract more, or will we use it to finally let our wild oceans heal? It's the ultimate challenge of the Blue Revolution. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep questioning what's possible.